Hey guys, MaxLPQueen here, and welcome to another dungeon run through. So, today we're running through the Gossamer Vault dungeon, and it's one of the dungeons that we had to do for our quest line. You know, I was going through and doing all the quests, and we ended off in the Grotto of Lost Souls, but I wasn't able to actually complete the next quest, which was the Gossamer Vault dungeon. So I don't exactly remember if we were reading through all these quest lines or not, but I have the quest up there because when I was doing all this off screen, I decided to go ahead and complete the quest line during the video, and I wasn't for sure if we were reading through the quest or not. I know the grotto was the last one that we did, and all that we had to do for that one was run through it, and there was no quest or no one in the dungeon, I believe, that we had to talk to. I'm not too for sure. It's been a really long time actually since I've been through a dungeon or been able to run through a dungeon. I kind of need to tell you guys what has been going on and why I'm able to do this now. Basically, what happened was, whenever you log out of the game for a long period of time, you come back, they will give you the option to get some rewards for you to help yourself out in terms of like getting to where you need to be as far as gear goes, because gear is always changing. And if your gear is like pretty low leveled, they'll usually give you some gear to help you get back into the game and get back into things. But I got that box a long time ago and I never used it because I thought, you know what? I think I'm gonna save it. I don't really need any Guardian gear. I'm already in Stormcry. There's nothing else I need as far as materials goes. I just need to keep grinding and maybe I'll get my gear up to where I need to be. Well, it turns out that little box actually had Stormcry gear in it instead of Guardian gear like I had thought. So it gave me the materials and everything that I needed to upgrade my Stormcry gear. And once I did that, of course, now I'm able to go into the Gossamer Vault dungeon. Yeah, weird, I know. But now that I'm able to do it, I thought I would go ahead and complete the quest with you guys. And I thought we would do it in the good old style of dungeon run through like we had been doing with our previous run throughs. I am on my gunner, of course, once again, since she basically is my highest geared character. So the first boss here, as you can see, I don't want to give like a guide per se, because in my opinion, when you go through a dungeon run through, the best way to go through it and learn is just to do it, in my opinion. You can read through all the guides that you want to read through, but in order to learn the dungeon or learn it, you need to do it yourself, in my opinion. I mean, some people might learn better by reading, some learn better by doing or watching. I learn better by doing. So, whenever I was able to go into the dungeon and get high enough geared, I went into it. Now, this isn't my first run through of the dungeon. That one was actually pretty bad, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna spare you guys that torture, because I died quite a bit. Now, this one was, I don't actually remember what run through it was, but I did die a couple times, but not as bad as I did when I first went through this dungeon. There's only 2 bosses, first of all, which I actually kind of like, because 3 and 4 bosses in a dungeon can be overwhelming sometimes. So the first one here is pretty simple. You guys can see he's got his big AoE type moves, and that's pretty much it as far as DPS is concerned, because all of the major damage that the tank takes in the front, the DPS don't usually have to worry about. We have to worry about all the red on the ground. Because he has that, I'm not sure what you would call it, like a pie type of thing that he does, where you have to get in between the parts that aren't red. And he also has that big jumping attack that he does. And then he also has one where he will like, he will go onto someone. He will lock onto, like, for instance, me, and you will turn and face that person, and then you will jump towards them. All this stuff, it can be dodged pretty simply. It took me like quite a few runs to figure it out, because with me, when I play through the game and I use my skills, I'm using my rolling dodge a lot, as you can see, because it reloads, and it's not reloads, it stops the cooldown of the whatchamacallit, that one, the scatter shot. That's what it is? Yeah, scatter shot. So when I roll, scatter shot, if it has a cooldown, is gone. And that's what I usually use it for. And it sometimes does that, I think, for the big arcane burst as well. So I had to learn going through this dungeon that I need to stop doing that. Because I need to use all of my dodges to be able to dodge this boss here. So he was pretty difficult the first time around. After about 3 or 4 tries, you kind of get an understanding of it, and you know what's going on. Basically, what I will say is this is kind of a lot easier with a priest than a mystic, because the first run through I did was with a mystic, and I don't know if the mystic just didn't know what they were doing. But it was kind of a tough run through for my very first one. But I guess you should do it the hard way first. Then that way, when it's easy, it won't be as bad. But we are going to continue on through the dungeon, reading through this quest line here. Now, the reason why I went ahead and did it this way is because I planned on reading through the quest lines with you guys, but then I figured if we weren't doing that, then I was just going to go ahead and have it so you guys can at least read through it yourselves. But what she's basically doing is just telling you how to complete the little laser beams, which, to be honest, I've just now learned how to do. I run through it like 10 times almost, and I couldn't figure it out until like the 8th or 9th try, and I was like, oh, you have to jump to change your color, and then after you change your color, then you're able to run through the lasers. It's a rhythm thing, of course. But we are at the last boss here. This is the big... What would you call this, the boss? Is this the Gossamer? Is this... Or the name of the dungeon is Gossamer Vault. So that's not Gossamer, right? Or... I don't know. Anyway, the name of it will pop up, of course, whenever we get into the fight. But this is the last boss, and she, for me, is pretty confusing. So since we have a little bit of time before we get started, because what is that? Our Valkyrie? Yeah, I think Valkyrie was like saying they needed 50 seconds to wait for their brooch or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, I think maybe I'll pull up the Essential Mana Guide. I know it might be... Actually, it might not be Essential Mana, because I don't know if they actually do... yeah. I don't think they do anything anymore as far as the Gossamer dungeon run-throughs and guides and stuff are. Essential Mana usually had some of them, but I'm not seeing it anymore. There must be like an outdated thing. So, yeah. There they are. There's the butterfly thing. Whatever you are. Gossamer Regant. Oh, it was Gossamer. I was right. I thought that was right. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, let's start the final fight here, if you will say. And please, before we get into it all the way, let me just say that I relied heavily on my team, okay? I did not do very much at all, and I did die a few times, but I didn't really understand the mechanics. I still kind of don't understand them too much, but by about 4 or 5 runs, I kind of understood a little bit about what's going on. So that one there is one of the big ones, because if you get hit by that, I think you get like a little curse or something on you, because you could see my HP kept going down, and I couldn't I couldn't exactly figure that one out for a long time, because if you're behind, if you're DPS and you're behind the boss, you're gonna get hit by it because you basically have no time whatsoever to dodge it. So that was my bad there. But that get together, gather and heal thing, I learned about that too when I finally read the screen. You guys know, when I go through these dungeon run-throughs, I just go through and I try to learn as fast as I possibly can by running through it, and I don't even think about the stuff that flies across the screen, like the you're transfixed by the Regant, you know. I don't read that stuff. I don't pay attention to it. When I should, because it said right on the screen, gather together and heal. Which I was, when we had that little bit of puddle of poison or whatever it was on us, the whole team, I would run away because I was like, oh, maybe we need to separate. Maybe we don't need to be together. It literally says on the screen, gather together and heal. But I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to see if this guide here has anything as far as like a run through of how to do it. But the only thing it has is like a YouTube video, which of course we're not going to be watching a YouTube video while you're watching a YouTube video of me doing a run through of the vault right now in a YouTube video. This is not going to happen. Okay, so I don't see any, basically, is what it's coming down to. So I'm just going to give you my opinion on this dungeon and what's going on. So the red, basically, I mean, why am I even talking about this? That's what I want to know. Why am I doing this? I should just make these dungeon run-throughs with music over them. Because you're going to learn by watching me. Maybe. Possibly. Because that's kind of how I would do it sometimes. If I don't learn by doing it myself, then I learn by watching it. And watching someone run through it myself. And so this is going to be the DPS portion. The gunner point of view, as you will. Not a tank view, of course. So you're going to know how to do it if you're a DPS class. But my basics for this is just to avoid all the red, stay where there's no red, use the dodge whenever she tries to turn around and hit all of the people behind, and you'll be good to go if you have a good healer. But we actually did it. We actually completed the quest. Oh, I need to get a drink. But we're going to go ahead and finish up this quest line here. I actually did forget that I had to go out the teleportal. So I had to do the dungeon all over again, just so that I could complete the quest, because I went to go through the portal and everybody had already left, so it teleported me back to High Watch, which I didn't want it to do. So let's go through and watch this little last portion here, because I did go through again just so I can complete the quest. So here we are. We have to talk to Elion now to complete the quest. Elion, yes, good to see you. I'm back in one piece, of course. Finally, after all this time, I'm able to complete this dang quest. But yeah, I'm finally able to complete this quest line. Alright, so I think that's going to be it for me. I actually don't think I even got my reward for doing this, now that I'm being honest. Because it showed me completing the quest, and I did complete it. But it didn't give me the metaphoric emblems, or whatever it was that it gives me. Like, watch whenever I complete this here. You'll see, and I don't even think they're in my inventory. Because it shows it gives you metaphoric emblems, and the experience and stuff, whenever you complete the quest. I don't even think I got it, but, you know, it doesn't matter. I completed the quest, I got the experience, that's all I care about. So that's going to be it for me. That was my dungeon run through of the Gossamer Vault dungeon. And then I think next time we are going to go through what'll probably be the last dungeon that we do until we get to level 69 or whatever, because you see those down there are 69. This one here that I haven't unlocked yet, we are going to do eventually. Just have to get my gear up before we do that. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.